Welcome back to our coverage of the League of Legends European Championship. My name is Vedius, and our next game is G2 Esports versus Rogue. But before we get into that, I wanted to dive deeper into G2's game yesterday versus XL. It was quite a challenging one for G2 that they almost lost, so we want to cover a few things to learn from this. The first one is what went wrong for G2. Why were they in such a deficit in the first place? Also, how individual performances are key for G2's playstyle and their success in the league. And finally, we're going to look at how they can learn and adapt in the middle of a game. So first off, we're going to start with their draft. The first thing you're going to notice is that they have a Draven Morgana bot lane. I think it's quite clear that their win conditions are to try and snowball through this very strong duo. Combined with that, they also have the Olaf, who's very good in the early game, that can synergize well to get this bot lane ahead and offer some protection in terms of early game plays. Now, the Sejuani went up against a Sion, favorable matchup for the Sejuani. Akali into Galio, pretty free farm lane for the Akali, and this duo was up against the Xayah Rakan. So everything was in favor in terms of the early game for G2 Esports. And what they wanted to do was snowball. Now, it started off pretty well for G2. Jankos had some really good early pathing. I was impressed with what he was doing on the map. They even found First Blood up in the top lane. But the first major mistake came from when they wanted to try that snowball. Now, what you'll notice here is that Akali has just gotten her item spike. She has completed the Gunblade, and she wants to walk with the Olaf to try and set up a dive down towards the bot lane. The problem for them is that they don't respect how easy it is, my apologies, they don't respect how easy it is for the Galio and the Nocturne to actually join this fight. They both have semi-globals, and the teleport is available on the Sion. So the issue for G2 is they're trying to start this snowball, they're trying to make this dive, and they're not respecting the amount of answers that XL have to counter it. So when we start this play, we also got to look at the execution. Keep your eyes here on the Draven. You'll notice that he's actually drawn aggro from the tower immediately. This is going to cost him both of his summoner spells, and it means that he's forced out of the fight right from the get-go. So that means Perks is now useless. The rest of G2 are kind of coming in, and you'll notice how in this moment, they get separated. You've got this clear line here where you've got the Akali up towards the top side of the map. You've got a TP coming in down towards over here. And you've also got Perks and Olaf just kind of stuck in this awkward situation where they're not really sure what to do. So what you'll notice here as well is that XL are able to very easily clean up the rest of the fight thanks to the fact that G2 are so split up, and this is really where things start to go wrong for G2. So it's a bit of overconfidence, it's a bit of a big mistake, and they end up getting punished for it. Now, the second major mistake from G2 comes in around 20 and 29 minutes, round when the Baron starts to come into effect. What you're going to notice is that G2 are actually sitting on a lot of gold. At 29 minutes into the game, Perks had 2,250 gold in his pocket that was completely unspent. XL recognize that they have an item advantage, and they want to try and force a play. So they go straight towards the Baron. Now, when this all kicks off, you'll notice that G2 are kind of in disarray. They don't really know what to do. They're kind of spread out, and immediately these ultimates from XL come through, and they look to punish. They find these quick kills, and again, G2 are kind of struggling to find an answer. The teleport is going to come through as well. Jankos is going to lose his life, and everything is looking dire for G2. You think, this is it. The game is over. They have lost absolutely everything. XL's going to get themselves a Baron. All they need is one, maybe two more kills, and everything will work out perfectly for XL. But this is where we come in to talk about the individual performances of G2. Now, Caps in this situation is in a 1 versus 5. It looks like that with his life gone, the Baron is free to pick up. But note what he's doing here, right? XL think that Caps is going to move towards the bot lane. They think he's going to go straight towards Cadril. So the ultimate comes out preemptively from the Galio. XL saying, okay, we'll cut off his attack crew, I'll provide assistance for my jungler, and then the rest of my team can collapse. However, Caps recognizes this in the moment, and he changes his trajectory from going south to going towards the back line of XL. He sees Kasing as a primary target to get a kill. So that's exactly what he does. He moves away, he changes targets, he instantly picks up a kill. But that's not all. He is now at around 200, 300 HP on Akali versus a full HP Xayah. He's very aware of how much damage he's able to output, and he's able to convert that into a kill regardless. This is why individual performances are so important to this G2 lineup, because when things look dire, you can just count on their members to step up and turn things back towards G2. Now, there was a Baron steal and an Elder steal that later happened, but rather than focus on those, I wanted to bring our attention to the final team fight between the two teams where G2 finally figured out how to deal with XL's comp. And this kind of brings to illustration our final point, which is G2 learning to adapt as the game went on. Something that happened a lot in this game was Expect finding a lot of fantastic flanks. And if we bring your attention to the minimap once again, you'll notice that he's managed to come all the way from the top lane down towards the mid. And he's looking to come in from behind to allow the Nocturne and the Rakan to join him in setting up what is a fantastic engage, or could be a fantastic engage for XL. But this happened too many times, and Jankos is tired of it. So he sees that this play is coming, and he interrupts. He heads towards the Scion and body blocks. Immediately, the Nocturne then tries to follow up, and he ends up getting collapsed on as well. So now you're in a perfect situation for G2 because their backline is free to just fight the enemy backline. Perks, Caps, and Mickey are left uncontested, and this dive just disappears from the side of XL. As a result of that, G2 can then clean up the fight. Caps is able to play this perfectly, and note here as well, even though he gets taunted, the immediate QSS utilizes the mobility from the Akali to quickly turn this into a lot of great kills. And props here to Mickey as well. It went unnoticed by me in the cast, but he lands that binding onto Jeskla to help secure this kill. So ultimately, what this game came down to was great adaptation throughout the game from G2 as a whole, fantastic individual performances, but more so than anything else, Caps being a god. From Summer Split MVP to World Finals to moving Perks out of his kingdom, the man continues to prove why he sits atop of Europe. This man is just too good at League of Legends, and it feels like that no mid in Europe can yet challenge him. So we had a look at what went wrong for G2. We had a look at how important these individuals are to the success of the team, and we also learned how quick this team is good at adapting. Now, we kind of looked at G2 and we've seen how good of a team they are, but they did show signs of weakness that they will look to try and close off as they go up against Rogue. But can Rogue really handle this motivated super team? We're going to find out as we hand over to the casters.
Thank you, Vedius. I'm also now joined by Indiana Frostgarden Black. I think wonderful insight into exactly what happened yesterday with G2, but as we shift our attention to the Rogue lineup, it's hard to know exactly how to approach this team because I don't feel like they've shown us an answer to the puzzle that is Rogue finding a win.
I do want to remind everyone that they did have a rather rough strength of schedule. You know, outside of the XL loss, they had to deal with both Misfits and now G2. So it could just be a scenario where you're looking at Rogue and you're saying, okay, bottom of the table team, but ultimately they are going through some of the toughest opponents right out the gate.
Absolutely the case. And like most new teams or new rosters put together, they will need a little bit of time to get their feet up under them. We'll see if this is the game where Rogue can strike back. XL was so close yesterday. And it's questionable. Does G2's sloppy play yesterday instill Rogue with confidence, or are they like, oh no, they're going to take this game so seriously and try to play as perfectly as possible due to their slip-ups? Well, we'll find out. For now, bans remaining quite standard. We're going to see the Urgot, the Galio, the Casio all taken away.
And it's always going to be a question about what the priority pick on blue side for G2 is going to be. It feels like you can't leave anything open for them. We saw that when the Akali was left open, they grabbed it. Caps had a hard carry, god-tier status game on it. You can see him smiling on your screen right now. Rogue, are you going to ban it or are you going to give it away for free?
And how much confidence do they have? I feel like you have to ban it, but what do you give up in exchange? There's so many picks left. Akali now taken off the board. The Lucian available, something we frequently see banned out here. Aurelia as well, and it's going to be snap locked in by the side of G2.
And it's the fact that there's so many power picks. Now, that does mean that in return, maybe Rogue can grab some of their own power picks. We usually see a Rakan in a second rotation here. Maybe they go for a tanky champion that can be flexed in either the top or mid lane position to deal with the fact that that is an Aurelia. Maybe they grab the likes of the Lucian or, oh my god, sideways.
Grabbing the Karthus. The now defeated Karthus has lost one game in our previous matchup, but still an incredibly powerful pick, and Kick is maybe the guy that you want to see this carry-style champion on.
And what I hope to see is that Rogue feel confident on these style of champions, and they simply aren't just denial picks away from G2. You know, you can't give them Karthus, you can't give them Lucian, we must grab them, because right now, I haven't seen anything from Rogue that tells me that these are champions that really fit in their wheelhouse.
We did hear from Crownshot, though, before in the interview with Quickshot about how he thinks that if you are going to win this, it is absolutely an uphill battle, but strong individual lanes, try to win in the laning phase, try to come out on top. Sion, though, not really the strongest laner, much more about neutralizing some of these matchups. May just try to follow the Aurelia around, and still my eyes just keep going back to that Karthus. I want to see what Rogue can do here, because they're up against his Xayah Rakan bot lane. Perkz and Mickey playing the traditional AD carry support duo.
And I like the fact that Rogue are following up on the Karthus jungle by then trying to take away aggressive junglers. Now, we know that Jankos is a phenomenal Karthus jungler. I'm going to assume that he then knows how to play around it. We've heard teams interview, not necessarily revealing what the strategy would be to attack the Karthus, but saying that there are options available. So I hope that G2 get to reveal their hand a little bit about what they want to run into this and say that it's not just permaban worthy.
And we did see the Gragas from Selfmade just in our previous game be very effective against this option. The Sejuani, though, will remain the ban. Of course, a very unique pick that is coming to the hands of G2, almost exclusively a flex pick to this lineup, at least from what we've seen on stage, so limiting some of that creativity in the pick ban phase.
And meanwhile, kill pressure taken away from the Lucian. So you have the Xayah and the Rakan, you take away Alistar and Thresh just to make it a little bit harder. That does mean that the Braum is still available. Or, I guess, Leona.
Ooh, I like this. Solid option to Rakan. He goes in, you stun him immediately before you get the knockup off. Look for the change.
Yeah, the nice thing is that when he changes up position, you use the Zenith Blade to follow. Long time counter in the LCK and the LPL.
And an aggressive bot lane. We wanted to see aggressive lanes, maybe hoping to punish Perkz in the AD carry. Definitely struggled.
That's an Ivern.
Ooh. Is this a flex pick? No, I'm joking. Is this in the jungle? I think. Ivern now coming up for this G2 lineup. Jankos willing to take the back seat here.
I was expecting so many more things than the Ivern. I was like, he'll probably just play the Gragas. It'll be fine.
They're just flashing through picks. What's it? Karma going to be locked in. Now, I have a question for you, Frosco. There are two damage threats on this team, and that is the Aurelia and the Xayah. Is this a protect the Xayah composition, or is this a protect the Aurelia composition?
I mean, I think you say that because it's Rakan Karma, but I feel like the games are going so fast. Usually when people... Oh, no. Okay.
Now that is what I like to see. Rogue instilling a lot of faith here. I feel like for the last few weeks they've been spec'ing to subtlety, and they're coming out here full assassination. They're looking to blow people up. They are ready for some PvP. The Riven pick, the confidence coming in here.
Not to be outdone by the Ivern Karma combo.
Whatever, Ivern Karma, those champions are boring. Riven! Riven! Oh man, this is the solo queue terror. I hate to see it in any game that I play, but any game that I am watching, I am excited to see a Riven Frosco.
And I do like the confidence from Syncox just to say that he's going to step 2 across from not just an Aurelia, but Caps' Aurelia of all things. Now we will repeatedly check in on that matchup and see how it's going to go. I'm going to say it's probably going to be a bit skill-based. Bit of a skill check there.
Always rough. Caps generally wins every skill-based matchup right now.
Circling back to the Karma pick, what I really wanted to make a note of is that because these games are going so quickly, especially today, a lot of people look at a Karma and they just assume that it's going to be a support. But reminder, Wonder played the AP Sejuani yesterday.
True.
And when the games are ending so early, Karma's damage is still quite significant. She will pack a punch until much later on in the game.
Will we see a tank Karma top? Chakarez single-handedly ruining solo queue. Will he single-handedly ruin competitive as well? Ooh.
I think he's in the audience today, too.
Is he? Nice. He's also a Riot employee now. Good on you, buddy. Ruining everything. Here we go. Rogue versus G2. Is this the upset now for the Rogue lineup? Can they find their first win in the LEC up against a Titanic G2? We are going to find out. For now, let's head over to an interview with Grabs.
Thank you very much. And yes, joined here, of course, by Grabs for G2 Esports. I have to ask, Riven and Leona, I wasn't ready for it. Were you?
Somewhat. I mean, they're pretty desperate right now. That means they look for something strange. The Riven we put in solo queue, so that's not that big of a surprise. But I'm more concerned about what we can do.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what the impact is going to be on this game. Obviously, the bottom lane with that Leona. What do you think of Perkz and Mickey and the Xayah Rakan coming up against the Lucian Leona?
I mean, it's no secret we play very aggressive, and we have volatile matchups in bot and mid. So I hope that we actually play around our jungle this time, not like yesterday. Play the game a bit slow in the early game, and then we should have no issues.
And what about this Riven? You know, is this something that really needs to be controlled early on? You know, where is Jankos going to need to be prioritizing? Because there seems to be a lot of threats in so many lanes.
I mean, we didn't encounter that much. That means it's something new for us. But I think if we just play our game and play to our strengths, then there should be no issue again.
All right, I'm very interested to see how the game plays out. I want to step back for a second, talk about Perkz. This is now the third AD carry he's played in the bot lane. The Draven yesterday, I'm going to be frank, it didn't impress me. But, you know, let's talk about Perks moving, and now he played one mage, and now he's moved to AD carries. What's it like as a coach and getting him up to speed on the stage with the champions?
It's pretty simple, actually. Perks is very driven. That means I don't have to put that much input into him. Like, he's alone, plays the game 24/7, wants to improve 24/7. So therefore, I can just use his flexibility like anybody in this team in the draft. So yeah, I'm very happy with that.
All right, I'm going to ask one last question. When I looked at yesterday's game and how long it took to close it out, what was some of the reasons? I had a feeling that the Sejuani top and Draven bot was part of it, but let's get an official record. You know, why did it take so long to beat XL?
I had a feeling we entered a bit in the early game, that's all. We knew they're going to look for something on bot. We burned 2 flashes for no reason, and the dive was not calculated, let's say. So we made life hard for ourselves, and then thankfully Caps was a bit insane, and we could turn it around.
A bit insane. There's the understatement of the century. Grabs, thank you so much for the chat. Best of luck in the game.
Thank you.
We're going to head back to the caster desk with Dracos.
And also Froskurin. She's important. Hi, Frosco. And now, this is the thing, and this is why I'm glad we have a color caster here, because when I see a Riven, I'm not always sure we need one, because I just assume people are going to kill each other for 20 minutes straight, but there's some new champions setting foot on the Rift. The Karma top, the Ivern in the jungle. It's been a long time since I've seen an Ivern. What does this champion do right now?
I mean, fundamentally changes a lot of the gank pathing. Because Ivern can go through his jungle, after he sets it up quite quickly, it does mean that you can open up these really wide windows for attacking the map and getting these ganks done. And so I'm curious about where they're going to attack, because it felt like when Rogue drafted a composition of having, you know, a Lucian Leona, a Riven, a Scion, and that Karthus jungle, they were looking at having control in their lane so they could protect the Karthus jungle, you know, allow him to springboard and get set up into the game. But with an Ivern, he can very quickly turn a lot of those lanes sideways after his setup and kind of pick and choose where he wants to gank, especially when he has so much hard CC and the ability to gap close in virtually all of his lanes.
I mean, you look at it, Karma is actually incredibly obnoxious in some of these tankier matchups, just the fact that the snare is so easy to land on something so slow with no mobility like the Scion pick. So potentially we might see, it's actually hard to say where we're going to see the jungle attention go, because there is set up to enable ganks everywhere.
There's also a ton of shields that are kind of built into G2's composition across the board, and I'm curious if maybe they're trying to absorb a lot of the damage that Karthus will output in the Requiem and make it a bit harder for him to just end team fights using that ultimate before fights begin.
And to be fair, people talk a lot about the Soraka as kind of the obvious one pushes R to heal, one pushes R to kill people, but I think that the opposite side, in a champion who can reliably build Redemption and can rush Redemption early on also feels really good to me. And Ivern, of course, doesn't really need anything to clear the jungle. Very rarely completes the jungle item. We'll find out what Jankos wants to do, what his approach to the Ivern is on this patch, 9.1. For now, he's going to trade blows. I feel like these are two of the least interactive junglers we will see on the Rift. Both of them seem pretty content to play PvE.
I mean, it feels less interactive about their dueling potential across from each other and very interactive in terms of how they can slot or plug into their lanes to start creating advantages. And again, that's what I actually really like about all of these lanes, whether you're looking at G2 or Rogue, is that there is kill pressure and there is kill attention, and you can start, you know, really carving out where you want to attack on the map, whether that be top, mid, or bot. So all of my attention is going to be on Jankos and Kikis's pathing.
We'll find out how much information is going to be given away as well about this pathing. Now they will spot the G2 bottom lane, I believe, coming into lane early, trying to get advantage in that race for level 2, incredibly crucial in this early matchup. But hidden information as to where the Ivern and the Karthus are starting, both of them pretty free to clear this out. Caps goes in for the auto attack just to proc the bone plating. Doesn't look like he's going to go for any more trades level 1. Now Mickey just trying to play aggressive, trying to move forward, use the double shield here, but Perks is now getting locked up. A little bit of damage will get traded back. He just waiting for that aftershock to proc, but I feel like all of these lanes are set up to be explosive. Caps immediately going to go in. Not going to follow up, doesn't want to burn anything else. Of course, the Ignite advantage in the 1v1 is going to be huge.
Yeah, that's the difference. Senkux with the TP, Caps with the Ignite, so being very aggressive and recognizing that in the early level 1 that he can play on the front foot and try to force an early kill in the lane.
Ooh, check in. Prophet, this is a bad time in this bot lane, or in this top lane. Swip swap. Because Kleptomancy top laners with range against the Scion, it just... If that was me, I'd be out. I would have backed right there and just kind of put my head in my hands for a few minutes, let the team catch up around me.
It's the moral support from the audience that really got to me. I like to see it.
I really want to experiment with one of us playing a solo queue game on stage, or a pro player, and everyone just, you know, cheering, just like you would for a competitive game. Oh, you missed the cannon. Oh, you died to the red buff again. This isn't about my personal solo queue experience, Frostgren. This is about the obnoxiousness of Wonder in the top lane, slowly but surely locking up Prophet, throwing down just a ton of damage here. This man is just making money off of this Scion.
Yeah, and I like the changes to Klepto and how it's given a lot of agency to more ranged top laners to start making an impact in the top lane. Odo, probably the big proponent of the Kennen repeatedly in the top lane. It used to be that Urgot had so many clear matchups and was such an easy pick every time because he is one of the few ranged champions up in that top side. Makes it very easy in the 1v1 matchups when you have that advantage. But the likes of Karma and Kennen really making the most out of the Klepto. I like that it's starting to diversify that champion pool up there.
Opening up a lot for Wonder. This man is playing so many different champions. This is kind of what he was known for when Splice was at its peak. I think good to see that continue to develop. And while this top lane is probably not the most interactive, we are set up for an explosive mid lane.
I kind of feel like there's almost a bet going on with G2 because they keep trying to play unique champions in every single game as opposed to the jungle. Like, Jankos is the only guy who's played the Karthus back-to-back games, but otherwise they're just grabbing new champions every opportunity.
And to be fair, we heard on the U40 podcast from Wonder that Perkz was adamant that he's like, now that I'm an 80 carry, my champ pool is going to be huge. You guys are never going to be able to touch me. And then you look at Caps and Wonder, who have both played an insane variety of champions. And you look at Perkz and you go, do you know there's like maybe 8 80 carries you're going to play ever? Mages maybe if you mix it up, but you've already played those. So Perkz, I don't think is winning this race, Frostgren. He's already played Xayah. They played the Xayah Rakan funnel.
But he did manage to throw into the face all the doubters that thought he wouldn't be able to play traditional marksman. You know, not only playing the mages, but then also having the likes of the Dravens and the Xayahs in the back pocket.
A very good spot to be in. Having that flexibility, looking much more comfortable on mages than I think a lot of players did when they had to make the adjustment. We'll see if he can keep it up on the 80 carries. Not in the most favorable bot lane. A really aggressive Lucian Leona. Not going to be able to find the engage there, though, from Wadid. A nice sidestep. But Perkz is burning through mana, just trying to keep up with the wave pressure that Hikyu and Wadid are putting out.
I mean, frankly, across the map, everything looks pretty even until you hone in on that mid lane, which is very early on in this game, 43-28. And again, a lot of that is the Ignite advantage. Senkuk's just being very respectful to Caps here, but he's getting significantly bullied around at only 5 minutes in the game.
And these trades are incredibly explosive, and kind of, I just wish we could have a permanent picture-in-picture on this lane matchup, because while 90% of the time nothing is going to happen, it is set up to be explosive. Kickus, though, going for the cheeky Ocean Drake would be very pivotal for both the top lane matchup as well as for himself, but is not going to get the chance. Let's get spotted out by Captain Jankos, using that mid lane pressure quite well.
And you can see why Kickus thought he had the safety to approach the Ocean Dragon when you check out all of the vision in the bot side river from Rogue. Unfortunately, he didn't deny a lot of that vision, tried to make use of the fact that Karthus can just spam those Skittles and can be pretty healthy or stay pretty safe when he wants to sell out a monster objective this early on. Sorry, eyelash in my eye, it hurt.
Let you give you the chance to recover. And sadly, this Riven kind of not getting the opportunity to take off already. You mentioned the deficit, getting the Kindle Gem early for the cooldown reduction. Maybe we see the Caulfield's next just to max out. But for now, we're going to turn our attention to the bot lane. The play is starting to kick off with Wadid. Now potentially going to get run down. Your Perkz with no mana, but wants one more auto. Is going to go over to Mickey in the end. Bot lane from G2 once again dominating.
Yep, the 2v2 solo kill when they got the priority to Lucian, but it looks like maybe a setup top lane.
Jankos now walking over. They see Kickus coming. Are they going to commit to the play? The wave is here. Caps is on the way with his level 6. Doesn't need to fight the Riven. Can fight the rest of the map. Prophet could now be in trouble. A lot of potential healing can come in from this Karma.
Yeah, respecting the fact that Senkux does have TP up, so not trying to force a dive. Obviously learning from Vedius' segment. And don't intentionally feed over the tower dive.
That game was hyped, though. I'm ready for greedy dives. I want to see some greedy dives. For now, though, we're just going to see Ivern taking all these prep camps, slowly but surely getting to the level 6 point. Daisy on the way. Ready to see our rock friend back on the Rift. And Senkuk's now at the level 6 point. Big spike for the Riven, obviously. Goes from doing very little damage into some of those initial trades to maybe being able to all in, but still lacking the Ignite, pretty crucial, and not having the 20% CDR, also rough.
Yeah, he may not have the Ignite, but he does have the Requiem on his side. So we take a look at the 2v2 down into the bot side.
This one, the Ignite comes in well-timed, but at the end of the day, Wadid just, I think, a little overconfident there.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like a misread there.
Difficult spot to be in, though. Those little mistakes definitely start to count against the Rogue lineup already. 12.5K for G2, 11.1 for Rogue.
I mean, it's devastating when you lose the bot lane.
Surprise
like
Dragon! Audience caught it. That was an Easter egg. Good job.
It's devastating when you lose the bot lane like that because how it's going to bleed into Kikis' jungle. He wants control of this dragon. He keeps approaching it, surprise or not, to get it started up. But now his bot lane is in a bit of a hole that needs to be dug out of.
Ooh, okay, the Hex flash over the wall.
Trying to create a trap.
Tricky.
Syncux was what he thought standing in fog of war.
Down there, but yes, of course, the vision is there, as is the inconsistent surprise dragon. Caps, though, ready to go in. Oh. Looks really cool, just means he gets a couple CS, but definitely look cool. Yanko's donating that blue buff over to him. One of the, I think, often underappreciated aspects of Iron's kit is just the sheer amount of buffs you're able to pick up as a mid laner. Red buff in a melee v melee matchup, especially with the health regen, can be pretty massive.
And especially when his name's Caps.
Especially when he just doesn't need an advantage to solo kill people, and then, you know, he gets a little one.
Or have, you know, close to 20 CS lead. In fact, across the board, there are just massive CS leads. The only place there isn't one is in that jungle. Which is why G2 are perfectly fine to actually have a very quiet early game, it feels like.
Here we go, though. Prophet going to try to find something back. Perks is going to use the ultimate, but Jankos is already here. They're going to try to turn this one. The Karthus ult immediately coming out. Perks is going to get incredibly low, now pulling back the feathers to try to retreat. Wadid is just going to back off. Great neutralization there. And Prophet with no TP needs to make his way back to his lane. Karthus might try to cover.
And the big difference there was that Wadid is still level 5, didn't have access to the Leona ultimate, and couldn't force the chase, versus Mickey and Perks both having ults.
They're waiting for the back. They're not going to find an excellent sidestep from Wadid. And you got to remember, Wadid, I feel like this is a game that he feels like he has to win. Was on the G2 lineup, dropped for this Mickey Perks bot lane. Goes over to Rogue, has not found that much success, but if you can take down a win here, that will feel good. A little bit of vengeance.
It's always going to feel good. Unfortunately, still playing from the back foot in terms of their items. Just felt bad giving over that early kill. Too aggressive, too overeager.
Now what could have been a very good, solid bot lane to set them up. They're behind on the Blade of the Rune King spike. Not all where they want to be. And the gold lead just continues to extend. And part of that is Wonder. Part of that is the Klepto. Unlimited free Klepto box here for Wonder on the top side of the map. Oh my god.
It's a huge advantage for Wonder.
Actually, it's nutty. Now, of course, most of that is CS. I'd say 70% probably. The rest is Klepto. Little items, just infinite sustain in lane. This feels so free. Dragon, go back to the pit! I'm sorry, guys. It's the Ocean Drakes, you know? They don't listen. This is why the clouds were good. This is why we had so many clouds last year. They stay in the pit like they're supposed to. You know, I don't know. They're just not. They're not listening today.
Just hanging out. It's fine.
Chilling. He wants to see what's going to happen. I do too. The engage going to come in now from Wadid. Kikis is going to get here, but it might be too little, too late. The ulti now coming in. Wadid is just going to get cut through. Karthus on the way in though. No Requiem available. Challenging Smite there if he wants to use it. Wall of Pain is going to go down. That's the culling. No one going to drop. Trade once again from both sides.
Here comes Caps.
Here comes the Punisher. Skull on his chest. This man is ready to take lives. Not going to find anything else, though. Does back off. Gets a bit more time for Syncux to free farm in the mid lane. Kick is getting caught out, though. Just that root collar just barely falling off. Caps almost ready to leap into melee range there.
And I like the respect from G2, even though they felt that maybe they had caught out Kikis there, not to immediately jump on it. Either they lost track of the Requiem cooldown, maybe just respecting the fact that Leona's right there, but this does give some posturing advantage to Rogue, that Kikis survives when he was pulled out, they walk up into the river, and they may actually finally get Ocean. Maybe.
Ocean finally going to return to the pit.
This is like the third attempt on this dragon.
Bad Ocean. We're back to the, well, no, G2, they know. Ocean needs to learn. Gotta get back to the pit. So they are going to try to take this one. Kikis could flash, go for the smite. I don't think he's going to do it, though. He's incredibly low. Wadid still wants to try to find it. Ulti now immediately coming out. Perk's going to use his ulti to nullify that one. At least try to. Damage coming through. Rogue getting cut down now. Syncux still in the middle of the fight. He's going to try to find the XQB. He's going to get one back, but has to stop Caps from cutting through the rest of his team. The resets are there for the jumps. One. He's looking for the next one on the Kikis. It's easy. Clean it up. Just all too good for Cap. But Syncux is firing back. The Aurelia, the Riven, they don't need to fight each other. They're just going to kill each other's team. Syncux, though, now on the back foot, has the dash. Wants to look for the Q over the wall. 1, 2, and 3, but the ignite, the fade away, the Power Rangers finish. Don't even look at him die. Just take it in stride.
Didn't want to force himself to use it. Thought he could walk down the ribbon, but as he saw that Syncux was heading for the wall, he's like, one to remember me by.
And now this replay brought to you by Alienware, and it's just
desynced from Rogue right now. They're waiting for what did and Sinkux to get into position. Sinkux feels like he is being zoned out by Caps, but you know, Kikis, he decides, am I going over the wall? Am I fighting this? When am I going to do the Requiem? I felt like it came in a little bit too late, and then eventually forces himself to flash over the wall, but the damage has really been done. It does get a little bit better because where Caps is no longer zoning out Sinkux from the fight, he then goes to clean up the kills. That does allow Sinkux to pick up kills on the back half, but you're still dealing with the Caps problem. So in the end, it's still a huge win for G2.
And honestly, Caps just plays that duel fantastically. Tries to do what he can to save Mickey, has the Ignite still available, holding on to Summoners. And that feels like just the ultimate way to end the fight, which is the, oh yeah, I still have Ignite, by the way.
And what I love about watching Caps in team fights is it feels like he's just aware of everything, that he's just tracking every single cooldown, that he knows exactly when he's got the damage to burst someone, that he's holding on to the Ignite, that he doesn't have to burn it too early, then he can use it to secure a fadeaway kill like that, as opposed to immediately opening up with it and getting maybe a little bit too greedy or not recognizing the full capacity or power of his champion.
And the confidence which he plays both a very complex 1v1 in Aurelia versus Riven and a team fight at the same time is incredible to watch. A reason why he's heralded as the best player in Europe. Probably the best player in the West as well. Now we're going to see the fight kick off. They're looking for the engagement. Kick is now walked into the middle. Everyone is going to drop. Can fire down a bit more damage with Death Defy, but an immediate pickup. Caps is doing Cap things. He is starting to take off, and really, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to kill Aurelia in the fights to come.
And frankly, the idea is Rogue can no longer sit in these isolated lane matchups. They need to break away from the map, start trying to create numbers advantages around. So they thought that, okay, we'll group up, we'll try to force around the Rift Herald, maybe play some vision. But G2 just read them like a book. We're there as soon as they turned the corner and are punishing them for any move that they make.
Now they're going to grab the Rift Herald as well, already with a 4K gold lead 15 minutes into the game. This is the dominance that you expect from G2. They've learned from their mistakes yesterday, not going to give a single moment to breathe to this Rogue lineup. It's just Frostger, and honestly, it's brutal to watch because it looks like things are going okay, and then one slip up against G2, somebody dies. The second slip up, 5 people die, and then you're just losing the game. This is not a team that lets you get away with anything.
And again, it feels like the idea is Rogue are saying, okay, we can no longer 2v2 bottom. We definitely can't 1v1 mid. Let's try to get an early rotation into an objective and see what we can get. Speaking of getting stuff.
Wonder now going to try to walk away. Is he going to be healthy enough here? He's going to have a lot of tank stats. He's just going to walk away quite speedily. The rest of the team is going to take the top side, though. So while 2 members are committed here, Wonder, Mantra the shield, walk away, Mantra the charge, rather going to get a little bit more healing. Oh, is finally going to get taken down. Just enough burst damage there to kill him, but they're losing a tier 2, and it just honestly does not mean much. Yes, they get something, but really it's just like a pat on the back, nothing else.
It's a consolation prize is all it is, because frankly, still a huge win for G2. They're eating up the map. They're starting to suffocate Rogue out of any area of the jungle. They're losing so much gold. It's getting more dangerous to try to side these farm lanes. From bad to worse is what it feels like for Rogue.
Absolutely the case, and now the Karthus' blue buff is going to get taken away right as he's approaching that level 11. That experience so crucial. Cap's going to deny that one. Does set up Ivern to take one as well. And is just going to walk bottom lane, grab this farm, potentially a kill on Prophet if he lingers for too long. The Conqueror making it a lot easier to take down a pick like Sion, but the free gold, the standing gold, very much on the side of Caps.
Yeah, it's the free fact that that tower is so low that a stiff breeze will come along and hit it. And also the fact that with 2 towers down up into the top side, it gives G2 so much Baron control, and we're only 16 minutes into the game. So when that objective finally does spawn, it's that much easier to secure it.
Frostgar in 16 minutes. Absolute dominance from G2, I think, as expected for the G2 fans. For the Rogue fans, still waiting to see that spark. We saw it in Champ Select with a pick like Riven, but the follow-through hasn't quite been there. Senkux, though, I think, interestingly enough, the man that we have to keep our eyes on to carry this game. 2-1-1, has the 30% CDR, potentially 40, depending on his rune selection, and maybe the Riven can be the defining pick. We've seen, the few times we've seen this in professional play, it's always come down to that flash, 3-man stun, combined with the ulti, the amount of burst this champion can do, given that pretty much all the abilities are AoE, is nuts, but I don't know if he's going to get the chance.
What I am excited about in this matchup is the fact that G2 are still willing to show some of their tricks.
Snap flash. Wonder now running, but they've burned a lot of sums there, and not going to trade much back, just flash for flash in the end.
Because frankly, they could have ran the exact same compositions that they've been running so far straight into Rogue and then just tried to brute force their victories, but they are reaching for kind of these different champions or champions that we haven't seen yet in the LEC, so I do like the creativity we're seeing from G2, even though they don't have to show their hand against an opponent like Rogue.
They don't, but after yesterday's loss, you can see why they might want to just put pedal to the metal. Try to take everything that they can for now. Their sights set on the tier 2 tower. HeQ gonna run from Daisy, but will get cut down quite quickly.
And reminder that we haven't seen Ivern in a while, and with his brush control, he actually makes sieging really potent and powerful, and that's something that G2's composition will excel at.
Caps versus the world. The Rally's in a good spot with the Trinity Force. The Ignite already taking down Caps. No, he's just running out of time. The dash through. He's trying to find one kill here, but it looks like he will get locked up. Caps, is he strong enough to make it through? It's not going to happen. The Carthus all now coming in for G2. Maybe this is a fight where they can turn, but Zencox is already solo. He's running for his life. Perks cuts him right down. And G2 turn that one back, the 1-for-1.
And it feels like the creep wave is right in position for them, so not only do they clean up the kill and turn it around, but then they immediately turn towards the structure objective.
Gonna grab that as well, and it's the advantage of being ahead when you have the creep waves in your control is that you get these additional objectives. And with an Ivern there too, you already mentioned it, the sieging power is insane. The heal now coming out for Perks. He was hungering for that objective.
Very deep teleport. Check out where Sion is. He wants to engage from behind.
Q.
His team doesn't have the health to follow up, though.
One thing Grab's talked about, he's proud of the team when they didn't overextend. Is this one of those moments where they have overextended? HeQ's low, Kick is low on mana as well, and Prophet's TP not actually going to amount to anything.
Yeah, and again, it was the fact that Prophet was like, team, I'm going in, we're setting up the play, but ultimately their health bars had already been chunked down, so there was going to be no follow-up, and Prophet would have just been on a suicide mission. So he rightfully pulls out the pin on that one and says, okay, no, I'm actually just going to walk away to the side, but a massive cooldown that's lost right as we're starting to go into that big Baron window.
Caps, of course, just trying to get something back here in this exchange. TP well used by Senkox to try to turn this one. He dodges what skill shots he can, but at the end of the day, Rogue commit enough members to take down Caps. Is nice to have that additional gold, is going to be important to shut down a player like Caps. And now the Death Dance coming through as well for Senkox. The Riven is getting stronger and stronger. G2 continue to take structures, though, across the map, 6 towers to 0. Definitely not a perfect game by any means from the G2 lineup, but clearly in control.
And again, it's the fact that even if Rogue do manage to find one strong member, if it is on that Riven and Senkox, it's the fact that the entire map is being pressured from G2. So Senkox can maybe start to work, maybe find a 3v1 advantage onto Caps, kill him again, but what will they lose across map?
That is the big question. For now, Jankos and Caps moving as a duo to invade the jungle to clear out a bit of vision.
Oh my God.
That is Karma AP damage. Sion, though, going to come in. Unstoppable, not going to connect on anybody. Senkox trying to find his way. That's the 2-man stun. The lockup going to continue on to Wonder. But Perks is just firing free shots over the wall. Senkox takes down Mickey. The support now picked off. Caps coming down. Keep your eyes. Will they extend the play? Slowly but surely, Daisy walks forward. The G2 lineup will back off in the end, and that's just the pick in favor of Rogue.
And that's the thing, it's an Ignite Aurelia, doesn't have the TP, so when Caps does swing out to those side lanes, it's much harder for him to get there faster, and he's going to be on janitorial duty. Now that said, G2 say, okay, they used a lot to get that pick, we've got our jungler, we're available here, we have Daisy to help us with this Baron, let's try to force it, make them fight us, because they don't want to fight Caps.
Just saying we will take the 4v5, we are not afraid. Prophet goes right into the middle of everything, the stopwatch already used. Rogue need to make a decision quickly, or they're going to get down by Caps. 2 members locked up immediately. He's looking for the reset of the play, so he's cutting through the entire team, dipping and diving his way through this lineup. But Karthus is firing back. Rogue not going to give up this Baron, and G2 maybe biting off more than they could chew.
Didn't respect the Karthus damage. Caps wanted to dive into the backline, but Karthus, his entire zone, split the team fight. Caps was having to sit on the Karthus, eat the ultimate, and also all of the damage of the 3 members he was trying to fight.
G2 have to give more respect to this Karthus pick. Cannot just team fight right into it. As fancy as Cap's footwork is, as good as those mechanical moves are, you just cannot walk through that defile too easily. Red buff will be picked up once again, denying these little advantages from Rogue, but no greater advantage. Trading even will go in favor of Rogue as we get further in the game.
That vision, that's really unfortunate.
Oh, what? That's awkward. We've been there.
2 wards, 1 bush.
Thank you, Berlin. All right. You know, we're going to leave that one at that. Good cheer. No further comment, Your Honor. I plead the 5th, if that's a thing in Europe. Oh my God, there's a fight. I'm so sorry. We're waylaying here. Immediately, G2 are going to look for the re-engage. Rogo still looking a little bit confident. Kick us in the backside. He can't offer them a decent retreat, but HeQ getting cut through. The double kill now coming in for Perks. Prophet running for his life. No damage threats left as HeQ does get locked up as well. They need to retreat. Prophet will get taken down, but the triple kill for Perks. G2 see an opportunity. Wonder sees an opportunity. The Soul Flare coming in, and G2 are on fire.
Remember when I said about Karma's damage and how quickly these games snowball out of control, and then on top of it, it's the fact that it's an AP Karma. He is hitting like a truck.
Cross current. That's a lot of death timers. G2 are going to break the inhibitor here. They could end the game. They may just go for it.
I mean, frankly, Dracos, this game has been over for a very long time. They are just dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Dying on the tower, just desperately trying to kill the minions, trying to take away those buffs. Slowly but surely cutting through the lineup. Senkuk's the hero play. Can he do it to keep his team alive and in the game? With Deed already cut down. Looking for that angle, looking for the way into the fight. If they group, Cap's already missing the ultimate. That could be a big turning point. Cap's now locked up, but G2 can just set their eyes on the Nexus, but they don't care. They want the fight. They want the kills. They want the BM. They want absolute dominance. Slowly but surely, they look to end this game. The Nexus falling as they play with their food. Perks is having a good time. He knows he's won this one. They know they played clean up to this point. Mickey X gonna try hit the Nexus. G2 taking down. I'm gonna try again. G2. No.
Third time's the charm.
Hold on. G2 taking down Rogue. There it is.
A dominant performance. It felt like it was over from the very early lane phase game. And like I said, it's just about dotting the I's and crossing the T's for G2 to sweep up Rogue.
And I was excited to see what the Riven could do there. And it's such a complex mechanical matchup, but we didn't even get to see it. I mean, honestly, the game snowballed out of control so quickly that it was never really an even point. Clearly, the Aurelia and the Riven were the characters to watch in those early fights, but at a certain point, you just... Oh, that's a Xayah. That's a lot of teamfight damage. That's a character that is hard to kill. And G2 run away with it.
And like you said, everyone's going to be looking at the flashy plays from the Aurelia. Caps was huge in a lot of those early team fights, but it was across the board that G2 were just dominating in the lane phase. The early 2v2 kills, the smackdown that Wonder was giving with that AP Karma up into the top side. And then I'm just going to say the Ivern, the cherry on top, Yankos there.
Just chilling, hanging out, putting Daisy into fights.
Thanks for putting him on the unique champion list.
There you go. Now we have to consider it. Now we have to prepare for it. Well done. A little more work for the color casters. A little more work for G2 as they come into the next week. See what other picks they want to prevail, or what they want to bring out rather. Here in the LEC, one of the top undefeated super teams alongside Misfits. We'll find out later today in Game 5 if Misfits can keep that dream alive, or if Vitality will be the first team to take down one of our super teams here in the LEC.
Scarier to you, Dracos, Misfits or G2?
I mean, Caps looks scarier. That's my answer. Caps looks scarier. Now, Wonder, obviously, insane. Lands the Flash Soul Flare. A great game across the board for this team and this lineup, but Caps is just terrifying.
Big smiles, of course, on the G2 super team faces, and I feel like everyone at this point is just waiting for that clash of fates between Misfits and G2 to really see who gets to take the moniker of super team in the LEC.
Yeah. I see Cap's dad in the audience. Shout out to Cap's dad, very supportive esports father.
I've seen him here, I think, every single day.
I approve of that. That is awesome. And I think one of the things is that we heard from Crownshot earlier today was like, you cheese them. You get strong lanes and you try to win. And I actually think that's not how you beat G2. I don't know how you beat G2, I'll be honest with you, audience, but I don't think that's it. Because if I look at this team and I go, you're like, oh, I'm going to pick Riven mid. I look at Caps, and I bet Caps goes, yeah, I've played this matchup. This is how I feel about it. This is when I have power spikes. This is when I win. You go, okay, I'll take it into Wonder. Wonder goes, yeah, I've played this matchup. I know how it's going to go. Like, you can't cheese these guys. They've played too many different things. And it was a thrilling game, but it all did kind of come to one final moment. So let's look at it one more time. This final fight. Which final fight? That's what we're going to find out.
Is it the one where they're diving Nexus towers?
Oh, it's this one.
Oh, okay. So this was the team fight that was supposed to happen. I think the big thing here is that they don't fight on the Defile this time around, because the one time Rogue did manage to pull a team fight away from G2, it's because Caps tried to fight 3 members on top of Karthus. So Karthus, he's dead. He's completely out of the fight. He's not assisting in any sort of real damage, and it's just super easy cleanup and letting the gold lead speak for itself.
Absolutely the case, and we saw that those funnels is exactly what they wanted to fight. When you look at their composition, it makes a lot of sense. You have Rakan, you have Aurelia, you have the Karma with the movement speed steroid, the Ivern as well. Really easy for G2 to reposition when they have a lot of space and use that composition to its fullest there in the fight. But we also want to hear from you guys, not just from us and our weird references. At Esports on Twitter is the place. You can vote for your Kia player of the game. We've narrowed it down to Yankos, Caps, and Perks. Why those 3 players? I don't know. It doesn't matter. You can literally pick anyone on this team. It's all one giant walking highlight reel.
I'm actually really surprised that Wonder didn't make that list.
He did just proc Kleptomancy like 1,000,000 times. That was like his contribution to the team, I feel like.
I've just been told that it was a tie between Yankos and Wonder.
It's a tie between... It's really hard, folks. So let us know. You know, vote on who you think is the top 3. Maybe let us know who else you think could have fit into the mix. Maybe this is... You know, we've given Daylor an MVP once. Maybe Grabs.
Maybe
MVP.
Daisy.
Maybe Daisy. Daisy might deserve it. Well, after a successful 2 weeks, Quick Shot is with G2's Yankos and Mickey X. Woo!
Started so well and ended so weak there, Dracos. Welcome, Jankos and Mickey. First of all, Mickey, I'm so sorry. Did you not have for Player of the Game, Kia Player of the Game today? It is, of course, between Jankos, Caps, Perks. Who would you vote for and why?
Well, obviously, I would have to vote for Perks, because he's my bot lane partner, and he played very well. But you deserve like a participation reward, you know. Like.
Okay, participation award goes to Daisy, because Daisy does all the work on Ivern, not Jankos. Is Ivern the counter to Karthus?
I'm not really sure. I think Karthus is just a really good champ right now, but it feels like with Ivern, if Karthus doesn't actually get ahead, you can shield people, and that causes Karthus not to kill them in the ult. And on top of it, maybe sometimes you can bait Karthus ult, and he thinks he will kill someone, and then Ivern appears, and then you shield someone, and Karthus ult is kind of wasted. So as long as Karthus doesn't get fed, it's fine.
Well, it didn't get fed this time around. The game looked pretty easy, you know, pretty smooth and fluid despite the Leona, despite the Riven. Jankos, we're seeing some really fun picks these last 2 weeks. You know, you guys have pulled out some fun things. We've seen the Zoe bot, Victor bot. We've seen Riven now mid. Talk to me about the meta, you know, and how happy is G2 that it looks like you can play anything and just win?
I feel personally like the meta didn't change much from Worlds. It just feels like you can play everything everywhere. And right now, you know, we do play some APs bot laners. We also play these. For the jungle, it's the same. You can counter pick, but you can also buy pick pretty much anything. So I think it's pretty fun right now.
It is very fun to watch. And Mickey, obviously you mentioned you voted for Perks for Kia's Player of the Game. What's it like now? He's actually playing 80 carries on stage. Xayah today, Draven yesterday, etc. The Draven left me a little bit disappointed. But you know, what's your opinion on him as an 80 carry player?
Well, as an AD carry player, I think he learns extremely fast and picks up like all the champs that are actually playable. And yeah, so far there weren't any issues. Well, yesterday's game, I think I played really horrible, so I kind of like pulled him down with me, so he looked kind of bad. But his Draven could use some work.
Yeah, there's no doubt there. Jankos, you threw your eyebrows up. I was like, Perks, 80 carry. Now I can see you want to chime in. How good is he as an ADC?
No, I mean, I think he really does improve fast. And
does that mean he's not good, but he's getting good?
I mean, I think right now he plays most of the champs on a really high standard. Maybe, you know, his Draven could use for sure some work. For example, he could learn from Hansama a lot, but I feel like his Xayah does well. But that's mainly because of my KX, because Rakan Xayah, it's 80% Rakan.
Yeah, there's no doubt there. And of course, last week his Kai'Sa was very good. Look, congratulations, you guys are 4-0. Let's step back and look at the splits so far. Super team, super team, super team. The two teams that are in contention is you guys and Misfits. First of all, do you believe that you and Misfits are super teams? And if you do or do not, what makes it a super team?
I mean, I think we are actually not that great, and we showed it yesterday. We were struggling a lot because we made some poor decisions in game. But I feel like we do have really strong individual players, and that is why we are winning a lot, especially Caps, because, you know, yesterday's game wouldn't be possible without Caps. About Misfits, I'm not really sure. I feel like their team play is really good, and they get leads around bot lane. I don't know if they can do it against every team, and I feel like their playstyle was similar last year. But this time, maybe their solo laners feed the team better, so I'm kind of excited to face them.
And Mickey?
Well, pretty much summed it up. But yeah, I think they mostly play towards their bot lane, and I think if they would play against us, I think they wouldn't be able to get such a lead. And in general, Max was really good at generating early game leads, like last year when I played with him. We mostly had like early game leads, but then we managed to throw every single one. But I'm pretty sure if we play them now, we would win.
Mickey, I think you're playing Misfits in week 4, if I remember correctly. I have to double check that. It's coming up, it's week 5. It's coming up soon. So you and Perks coming up against Gorilla and Hansama. I want you to predict to me how that matchup's going to go.
Well...
And I'm going to quote this, okay? So remember this.
So I think I'm going to ban one champion, and then I'm going to win bot lane.
Ooh, I like that. Now, Jankos, do you feel the same way when you look at the 2v2s, you know, Gorilla and Hansama?
I mean, I have to know. I mean, it's like Perks and Mikey are my team, so I believe in them. And I think they can beat Gorilla and Hansama, and they did show it already, maybe not on stage, but I think they will win.
All right, well, look, I've only just got one last question for you. When I look to the end of the match, end of the week, it's match of the week, Misfits will be taking on Vitality. So I want to get a prediction. Yesterday, both teams looked very, very good. Mickey, I'll start with you. Who's going to win today's match of the week and why?
Well, I would probably have to go for Misfits, since they look better. But I wouldn't mind Vitality winning as well.
Jankos?
Well, if you want a super game or like the hype matchups, both teams have to go 6-0 until then. So hopefully Misfits wins, and I do think that even though Mowgli is a really good jungler, I feel like Maxlor is performing really well the last couple of games. So I would give it to Misfits based on the bot lane and jungle performance.
I really like that, and I really like if you want to have the super team matchup, 2 6-0 squads. Jankos and Mickey, congratulations on the win. Unfortunately, Mickey, your vote did not sway the public at home. Your Kia player of the game is, surprise, surprise, Caps. No one's surprised with that. Look, 4-0, congratulations to G2 Esports. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. We're going to head to an ad break, and when we come back, Splice take on Origin.